So hello fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And I saw a cartoon movie called Red Sun about Superman. Basically if Superman grew up in Russia instead of America. And I have to say that taking it all into consideration, it really sucked. It sucked a lot. Let me just give a brief overview. So the same kind of thing, Superman, is running away from a bunch of kids, and he realizes that he has a bunch of powers. Well, he's been knowing that for a while. And this girl stands up for him, and he tells her that he's not running away from them because he's afraid of them. He's running away from them because he doesn't want to hurt them. And he proves it to her, and she tells him that, no, you have to give this to the country. So, he becomes a public figure. I think it was for Stalin. So not only is it set where Superman is in the past, it's, in Russia, but it's also set in the past. And eventually, Lex Luthor still lives in America. Lois Lane, she still lives in America. But they're married. And at the end of it, it really left a bad taste in my mouth, because you could say that Superman had become the leader of the Soviet Union. And America had gone through some hard times, but in the end, it came through and it became a much better nation. And but the thing is that the whole idea was that Lex Luthor wanted Superman to give up leadership of the Soviet Union and leave the world. And as Superman said to him early on, this is the only planet that I've ever known. So, for me, this is me saying it, where do you want him to go? Is this an anti-immigrant story? This dude is super powerful. He can defeat all these different armies and whatever. But you want him to leave because he's an alien. This really, really feels like it's some kind of anti-immigrant sentiment. Now, not only that, but Lex Luthor on several occasions has America attack the Soviet Union. He got some cells from Superman. He grew a clone that was powered by some ball of energy, some Frankenstein-like ball of energy in the United States. And he has this clone go over to Russia to fight Superman, not caring how much damage it creates over there, how many lives are killed in the fight. And basically he just streams more and more power into the, let's say, creature until it just dies. It just dies trying to fight the person that you took it from. Is that what America was? And Lois Lane is married to the dude. And of course she's upset that the guy, that he did that to the creature. She's mad. And she's like, don't touch me. And she walks off. But, somehow she gets over it. The next thing, I guess, a Green Lantern ship crashes and Lex Luthor is in charge of it. He gets the ring, he makes more rings, and then he has this Green Lantern Corps attack Russia, or attack the US, attack Superman to defeat him. And I'm like, seriously? I'm looking for me, just the idea that the US is attacking Russia and Superman, that's evil. Yeah, it's plain evil. Why are you attacking for no good reason just because Superman is in charge of the Soviet Union? It doesn't make any sense. And okay, the way that Lex gets Superman to take over the Soviet Union and to kill Stalin is by revealing that his childhood friend was in a gulag, I guess in Siberia, being forced to work in one of their labor camps. And why? Because she knew of Superman's origin. And of course she dies, and Superman gets really upset and kills Stalin. So, okay, yeah, Lex is really smart, and he has managed to manipulate Superman to take over the Soviet Union. And then what? You trying to... That doesn't make any sense at all. You made Superman take over the Soviet Union, and then you're trying to attack the Soviet Union when Superman is in charge of it, several times, in a completely callous and uncaring way, by creating this clone, then by sending, you should see how he basically treats the body of the dead Green Lantern that crash lands. He just cuts off the creature's finger and takes off the ring, and he has this corps of Green Lanterns to go over there and fight. Eventually, well, this is all getting kind of mixed up, but Brainiac attacks Earth, and he shrinks a particular city, and Superman's basically trying to, supposedly, after he defeats Brainiac, he's trying to get the city to be re-enlarged, and he is using the reprogrammed Brainiac to help run his country, and he has mind control over dissidents. Now, this is a thing where Batman apparently is in the fray, and Batman wants Superman to leave as well, and so that they can have their freedom. The Soviet Union can have their freedom. And a freedom to do what exactly, though? If they have, because they go through all the different ways that the Soviet Union is so fantastic. Life expectancy is at 97 years old, the average wealth and income of the people, and of course, well, not of course, but there's so many different markers by which the Soviet Union is doing so much better than the US. Even though Lex Luthor and the US are doing poorly, the whole idea of the comic movie seems to be that at least the US has its freedom. To do what exactly? The thing about it is that when you look at what people have, let's say wherever you are, wherever you're living right now, you might want to write something. Let's say you want to write an article saying that the leader of your country is a dum-dum. Yeah, everybody wants to have that freedom so that they don't, end up in some labor camp somewhere. And they never seem to suggest that that's what Superman was doing, that people couldn't come out and complain. Batman, in his this new idea, dreamed incarnation, was literally blowing up things across the city. That's what he was doing, potentially killing people in the city, and Superman was trying to make sure that he didn't kill people. But then there's the part where he uses Wonder Woman as bait to draw Superman in. He turns on a bunch of lights that are supposed to be like a red sun that makes Superman weak, beats him up, and puts him in a dungeon where Superman is going to be there permanently. And now, don't get me started on the ridiculousness of this whole red sun thing, and the whole idea that Lex Luthor was able to get cells from Superman in order to make a clone. and the reason why he was able to get cells is because I think the Soviet Union had some kind of satellite that was going to crash into America, and Superman saved the area where it was going to crash and left the satellite. He left the satellite, or at least Lex Luthor was able to get his hands on the satellite. Anyway, so you have this red sun thing that has weakened Superman. This is a dude, Superman, who under our yellow sun is able to fly about 15 million miles to get rid of this bomb that would destroy Earth in a couple of seconds. And you can get cells off of his fingers. You can turn on a light that makes him weak enough for you to beat him up with your bare human hands, and he can fly 15 million miles. Let's say in an hour. He can fly 15 million miles in an hour. That's faster than the speed of light. Okay? Light is 300,000 kilometers an hour, I think that is. So it's 200,000 miles, something like that. 186,000 miles per second, I think. If I multiply that by 100, that comes in to be about 15 million miles in 100 seconds. So it's not as fast as the speed of light, but still, it's an impossible thing to do, especially when you are not breathing in space and you are pushing this huge Brainiac bomb out to that part. I mean, okay, it's fantasy, but the more you know, it's so hard to just watch this stuff and make it seem believable. But anyway, the whole point though that for me was just stupid is that Lex Luthor, who became the president of the US, repeatedly exploits people and beings in order to attack the Soviet Union, which has a much higher standard of living than the US, because he wants to convince the immigrant alien that has managed to help his country have this standard of living so much higher than the US, and he's the bad guy. The immigrant alien that has managed to do all these amazing things for his people, he needs to go. The rich billionaires like Lex Luthor, who control the world and, get tax breaks and determine what kind of laws get passed and whether or not they even have to, what kind of wages they pay to their employees. The whole idea that they're able to determine what the social security system and the social net systems are because they don't want to get taxed, because they want to accumulate money that they don't need. They get to stay on the planet. But Superman, who was almost born here, doesn't know any other place in the world, who protects his people from the vicious attacks of the weaker, less advanced country. He has to leave. And then when he leaves, his people, the Soviet Union, collapses. And the US does so much better under the leadership of Lex Luthor, who then resigns because Superman's resigned. What a utter, complete propaganda film is this? What is this? I'm sorry, it's just drivel. Anyway, guys, you can wish me luck, you can like, unlike, comment, subscribe, and or share. Peace.